Before rockets, before astronauts, and centuries before modern science, humanity was already traveling to space using imagination alone. From ancient sailors hurled into the heavens by cosmic storms, to inventors, poets, hoaxers, and spiritualists who claimed the moon as their destination, these stories reveal how deeply humans longed to escape Earth. Some journeys were powered by dew, birds, balloons, or rockets, while others relied on lenses, lies, or the human soul itself. What you are about to hear is not science fiction as we know it today, but the astonishing true origins of space travel dreams. These are the space travelers who dared to reach the cosmos long before 1900. At number 1, Lucian of Samosata emerges as the earliest architect of space travel in Western literature, long before rockets or telescopes ever existed. Writing in the 2nd century, the Syrian Greek satirist created Vera Historia, also known as True History, as a deliberate parody of historians and poets who exaggerated their adventures. In this story, Lucian does not follow scientists or philosophers, but 50 ordinary sailors who venture beyond the Pillars of Heracles and are violently seized by a colossal waterspout. This roaring whirlwind lifts their wooden ship approximately 75,000 feet into the sky, transforming the sea into a gateway to the heavens. For 7 days and 7 nights, the sailors navigate the celestial ether as though it were an ocean, until they finally reach the moon, depicted not as a god but as a physical, inhabited land. This idea alone revolutionized how humanity imagined the moon, presenting it as a place that could be explored, colonized, and fought over. Upon arrival, the sailors are immediately drawn into an interplanetary war between King Endymion of the moon and King Phaethon of the sun, a conflict centered on the colonization of the morning star, known today as Venus. Lucian fills this lunar battlefield with unforgettable creatures, including warriors riding 3-headed horse vultures, cabbage fowl decorated with lettuce feathers, and flea archers mounted on insects the size of 12 elephants. The moon is inhabited only by males, who reproduce through infants grown in their calves, or harvested from strange tree men whose planted genitals grow human flesh. While the tale is intentionally absurd, it introduces what modern scholars call cognitive estrangement, describing alien life through familiar earthly terms. Lucian's vision stands as the first recorded depiction of space travel, alien civilizations, and interplanetary warfare, proving that science fiction began not with technology, but with imagination bold enough to treat the cosmos as a stage for human curiosity. Coming in at number 2, Johannes Kepler transforms space travel from satire into scientific speculation through his groundbreaking work, Somnium, or The Dream. Written in 1608 and published posthumously in 1634, this story allowed Kepler to defend the Copernican heliocentric model without openly challenging religious authority. The narrative follows an Icelandic boy named Duracotus and his mother Félixhilda, a healer associated with occult practices, who journey to the moon, called Lavania, with the aid of a summoned daemon. Kepler's method of lunar travel is astonishingly tied to real astronomical mechanics, stating that the journey can only occur during a lunar eclipse when Earth's shadow touches the moon, forming a temporary bridge of darkness. The physical dangers of spaceflight are described in remarkable detail, including the violent launch that feels like being fired from a cannon, forcing travelers to be sedated with narcotics such as opium to prevent fatal injuries. As the atmosphere thins, passengers must place damp sponges in their nostrils to breathe, anticipating modern concerns about oxygen deprivation. Kepler even describes weightlessness at the gravitational balance point between Earth and Moon, known today as a Lagrangian point. On Lavania, he divides the moon into 2 hemispheres, subvulva, which faces Earth and receives Earthshine, and prevulva, the far side that suffers 14 days of freezing night, followed by 14 days of unbearable heat where oceans boil. This haunting vision blends demons with physics, mythology with astronomy, and fear with discovery, making Somnium one of the earliest and most scientifically informed depictions of space travel ever written before 1900. Landing at number 3, Francis Godwin introduces a surprisingly gentle and imaginative approach to early space travel in The Man in the Moon. Published posthumously in 1638, this story follows Domingo González, a Spanish nobleman stranded on the island of St. Helena, who accidentally discovers the secret of flight. Rather than relying on magic or fire, Gonzalez observes a species of powerful wild swans he names ganses, birds with immense strength and a natural instinct to migrate toward the moon. Using careful breeding and observation, he constructs a lightweight engine made of wood and silk and harnesses 25 of these birds to it. When the ganses begin their seasonal migration, they carry Gonzalez skyward at tremendous speed, eventually passing beyond the Earth's magnetic pull. At this point, the birds appear to fly effortlessly, reflecting an early understanding that gravity weakens with distance. Over a 12-day journey, Gonzalez watches Earth shrink into a small, glowing sphere, experiencing weightlessness and thin water, sweet air that sustains him more spiritually than physically. Upon reaching the moon, he encounters a peaceful race of giants, twice the height of ordinary men, living in a Christian utopia free from war, crime, and lawyers. The Lunars communicate through musical tones rather than spoken words, and their world features trees 5 times thicker and 3 times taller than those on Earth. Godwin's vision presents space not as a battlefield or a nightmare, but as a hopeful extension of humanity, making Domingo Gonzalez one of the most optimistic space travelers imagined before 1900. Rolling in at number 4. Cyrano de Bergerac earns his place among pre-1900 space travelers as the most wildly inventive mind of the 17th century. In 1657, his work, The Other World, Comical History of the States and Empires of the Moon, introduced the character Diarcona, a man driven by relentless scientific curiosity who dared to claim that the moon was a world much like Earth, an idea so radical that it led to accusations of sorcery. Cyrano proposes no fewer than 6 different methods of reaching the moon, each more imaginative than the last. His first attempt relies on alchemy rather than machinery, as Diarcona fastens numerous glass vials filled with morning dew to his body, believing that dew naturally rises toward the sun and will be drawn upward by solar heat. This method successfully lifts him into the highest clouds, but the ascent becomes dangerously fast, forcing him to smash several bottles to reduce his weight and descend safely. He ultimately lands in Canada, a detail Cyrano uses to demonstrate the rotation of the Earth. His second proposal involves sitting on an iron platform and repeatedly throwing a powerful magnet into the air, allowing the iron to rise toward it again and again, theoretically climbing unmeasured distances through repeated attraction. Cyrano finally achieves lunar travel using a wooden box surrounded by fireworks that ignite in stages, a remarkably early description of a multi-stage rocket system. He even includes a device that functions similarly to a modern ramjet, centuries ahead of its time. On the moon, Diarcona encounters a society that walks on all fours, values large noses as a sign of nobility, and uses music as currency, allowing Cyrano to satirize religious and scientific dogma. His lunar voyage stands as a fusion of poetry, engineering, and rebellion, marking one of the boldest visions of space travel before 1900. Taking the spotlight at number 5, Margaret Cavendish redefined space travel by abandoning the sky altogether in favor of parallel worlds. In 1666, the Duchess of Newcastle published The Blazing World, a work that blends natural philosophy with what many scholars now call proto-science fiction. Storms, or birds. Cavendish's unnamed lady travels through a spatial anomaly located at the North Pole. The journey begins when the lady is kidnapped by a merchant, whose ship is blown off course by a violent storm, pushing it toward the absolute edge of the world. As the ship reaches the frozen extremity of the North Pole, the extreme cold kills the entire crew, yet the lady mysteriously survives. She soon discovers that the North Pole of Earth is directly connected to the North Pole of another realm, known as the Blazing World. This new world is inhabited by intelligent animal-human hybrids, including bearmen who serve as experimental philosophers, birdmen who act as astronomers, and wormmen who study the secrets of the underground. The lady rises to power and becomes empress, organizing scientific societies and directing philosophical debate across her empire. When her original world faces war, she returns using advanced technologies such as wind-powered cannons and gold-plated submarines to defeat her enemies. Cavendish's refusal to rely on the traditional heavens as a destination makes this one of the earliest literary examples of a multidimensional or parallel world theory. Her vision stands as a revolutionary declaration that imagination itself is a vehicle of exploration, making her one of the most original space travelers before 1900. Closing this chapter at number 6, Baron Munchausen represents the triumph of absurdity in early space travel storytelling. first published in 1785 by Rudolf Erich Raspe, the tales of Baron Munchausen elevate the tall tale tradition to cosmic proportions. Unlike the scientific grounding seen in Kepler or the speculative mechanics of Cyrano, Munchausen's journeys to the moon embrace the impossible. In his first lunar visit, the Baron throws a silver hatchet with such force that it lands on the moon itself. To retrieve it, he plants a magical turkey bean that grows at supernatural speed, reaching the lunar surface within hours. He climbs this towering plant, retrieves his hatchet, and begins his descent using a rope made of chopped straw, repeatedly cutting and retying it to continue downward. His second journey is entirely accidental, occurring when a massive hurricane lifts his ship 1,000 leagues into the air while sailing in the South Seas. The vessel drifts through a new atmosphere for several days before sailing directly into a harbor on the moon. There, the Baron encounters giants standing 36 feet tall, known as cooking animals because they prepare food with fire but consume it by opening their sides and placing food directly into their stomachs. These lunar inhabitants have removable heads and eyes, and upon death, they do not decay but dissolve into air like smoke. Munchausen's lunar adventures parody the very idea of exploration, proving that long before modern science, space travel could also be a mirror for human exaggeration, humor, and limitless imagination. Stepping into number 7, Edgar Allan Poe marks the moment when space travel literature shifts decisively from fantasy to engineered possibility. In 1835, Poe published The Unparalleled Adventure of One Hans Pfaall, introducing a protagonist who is neither noble nor philosopher, but a struggling bellows mender from Rotterdam, facing financial ruin and relentless creditors. Hans Pfaall chooses escape not through magic or creatures, but through careful planning and technical ingenuity, constructing a balloon capable of reaching the moon. Poe grounds the story in the aeronautical science of the 1830s, describing a balloon made from cambric muslin coated with gum caoutchouc and filled with a secret gas 37 times lighter than hydrogen, created from a peculiar metallic substance combined with acid. To survive the thinning atmosphere, Pfaall invents a mechanical condenser that compresses the ether of space into breathable air, anticipating modern life support systems. His journey lasts 19 days, during which he records extreme cold, nausea, and the sensation of escaping Earth's gravity. Poe even explains the illusion of Earth appearing concave, attributing it to atmospheric refraction rather than fantasy. Upon landing on a fiery volcanic moon, Pfaall encounters a civilization of short, earless beings living in dense urban centers. Although initially presented as a hoax, Poe's detailed calculations and technical realism convinced many readers, establishing Hans Pfaall as the first truly modern astronaut imagined before 1900. Arriving at number 8, Richard Adams Locke proves that the most influential lunar journey of the 19th century required no physical travel at all. In August of 1835, the New York Sun published a series of sensational articles known as the Great Moon Hoax, claiming that renowned astronomer Sir John Herschel had observed life on the moon using an impossibly powerful telescope. Written by Locke, the articles described a revolutionary optical device employing hydro-oxygen lenses, capable of revealing the lunar surface in stunning detail. Readers were transported visually to a moon filled with ruby amphitheaters, forests, and exotic animals, including bison, goats, blue unicorns, and tailless beavers. The most famous inhabitants were the Vespertilio Homo, or man-bats, 4-foot-tall winged humanoids covered in copper-colored fur, who flew gracefully and engaged in animated social discussions. Elaborate lithographs and convincing scientific language persuaded much of the public and even some scientists that the discovery was real. This form of optical travel represented the height of 19th century speculative science, echoing popular beliefs promoted by thinkers like Thomas Dick, who argued that billions lived on the moon. Even after the hoax was exposed, the man-bats endured as cultural icons, demonstrating that humanity's desire to visit the moon could be satisfied through imagination, media, and belief as powerfully as through machines. Claiming number 9, the spiritualist frontier opens space travel to the inner universe of the human mind. In the mid-19th century, spiritualism gave rise to travelers who claimed to reach the moon and planets through astral projection, also known as soul flight, rather than physical technology. Mediums such as Pauline Dorothea Burley and Mary of Western New York reported journeys guided by spirits, daemons, or deceased relatives. In 1837, Burley described entering a somnambulistic trance in which her soul separated from her body and rose into the heavens. She claimed to observe the sun as a vast city of God and the moon as a world 40 times smaller than Earth. These accounts often borrowed scientific language to appear credible, including descriptions of dense atmospheric layers surrounding Saturn and the difficulty of passing through them. Saturn's plants were described as transparent, and travel was said to occur at the rate of thought itself. Theosophists later formalized these ideas, popularizing the concept of astral travel and introducing the Akashic Records, a cosmic archive containing all knowledge. These spiritual journeys represent a unique intersection of psychology, religion, and astronomy, revealing a period when the unconscious mind became a vessel for cosmic exploration. In an era before rockets, spiritualists declared that if the body could not yet reach the stars, the soul already had. Long before engines roared and rockets rose, humanity had already crossed the stars in thought, proving that imagination always travels faster than technology. These strange and wonderful journeys of bottled dew, trained geese, engineered balloons, hoaxes, and soul flight shattered the psychological barrier that once confined humans to Earth and quietly laid the groundwork for modern space exploration. Every astronaut who walks among the stars today follows in the footsteps of poets, inventors, and dreamers who first dared to treat the moon as a reachable place. If you enjoyed this journey through the forgotten origins of space travel, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep history and mind-expanding stories. Thanks for watching.